Hi guys, welcome back to Ferris Tutorials. In today's episode, we'll be looking at Tourism Unit 1, Content 2, which is entitled The Classifications of Tourism and Tourists. Stay tuned. Tourism Unit 1, Module 1, which is entitled Concepts and Issues. And in today's episode, we're looking at Content 2, which has to do with the classification of tourism and tourists. Now, let's take a look at our focus points. So we'll be looking in details on the classification of tourists and tourism, and also the push and pull factors of tourism. Now, before we go into details, let us look at these revision questions. Number 1, define tourism. Number 2, differentiate between an excursionist and a tourist. And number 3, name the official organization responsible for tourism at the international level and the regional level. Now, based on the video that we did in our last session, you should be able to answer these questions. And if you missed it, the video card above is of great help. All right. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the classification of tourism and tourists. Now, first up, we have domestic tourism. And when you hear of domestic, what are you thinking about? You're thinking about home, right? You're thinking about yard. Right. So domestic tourism refers to tourists traveling from their normal dwelling to other areas within their country of residence. So for example, someone, say for instance, in Jamaica, you leave from your home and you may say you live in St. Elizabeth and you may travel to Negril or to Montego Bay to stay at, say, a hotel for a couple days, right? That's an example of domestic tourism. And also the person who would be doing the traveling would be what? The domestic tourist. All right. Now, our next classification is international tourism. Now, international tourism are tourists leaving their country of origin to cross into another country, which involves documentation, administrative formalities, and movement to a foreign environment, right? So that same example, or we could choose another Caribbean country, say for instance, for say Trinidad and Tobago or Guyana, someone traveling from there, say for instance to Mexico or to the United States, right? So that would be an example of international tourism and also international tourist. Good. Now, the next category that we're looking at, classification that we're looking at is very unique. So when we speak about inbound tourism and also outbound tourism, right? Now let us look at what they are. Inbound tourism refers to when a non-resident or foreigner visit a given country, right? Let's take that back. So inbound tourism refers to when a non-resident or foreigner visit a given country. Now, on the other hand, outbound tourism is when a resident of a given country leaves that country to visit another one. All right. So we have inbound tourism and also outbound tourism. So inbound tourism refers to when a non-resident or a foreigner visit a given country, whereas outbound tourism refers to when the resident will leave their given country and to visit another one. All right. Now the next category that we're looking at is regional tourism. Regional tourism refers to tourism which is concentrated in a region. A regional tourist refers to a tourist visiting a region or province other than in which he or she has a normal residence, but within a defined geographic region, right? So we may speak of the tropical region, we may speak of the Caribbean. So leaving from, say, Jamaica to Trinidad, or from Trinidad to Guyana, right? So we're talking about a particular region there, and hence the term or the phrase regional tourism. Good. Now, let's shift things up a bit, and we're looking at the push and the pull factors of tourism. Now, as the name suggests, when we speak about push factors, what are those? Are you able to coin a definition of what you would say push factors are? Think about some things in your life that may push you away from a certain circumstance, or even pull you towards a certain situation, right? Now, as it relates to tourism, now let us look at the definition. Now, push factor are those that encourage individuals to move away from their home setting through tourism. Push factor are those that encourage individuals to move away. Now, on the other hand, pull factors are those attributes of a different place which attract or pull individuals or persons towards it. So push factor encourages persons to move away, and on the other hand, pull factors are those attributes which encourage or attract persons towards a certain area, maybe a certain destination, right? Now let us look at some examples of push factors and some examples of pull factors, right? So some examples of push factors in the industry may include your need to escape, right? Some persons want to go on self-discovery. Some persons want rest and relaxation, a sense of prestige. Challenges may push persons away. Excitement, right? Family, the feeling of togetherness, and also health and fitness are some of the factors that may encourage persons to move away to a particular destination or to a particular location. Now, as it relates to pull factors, we're talking about those attributes that pull or encourages or attracts, let's use of a better word, attracts persons towards a particular area, location, or destination. Good. So we're talking about scenic beauty, historical areas, cultural attractions and events, sporting events, beaches, parks, recreational facilities, and also the need for shopping, right? So those are some attributes that will attract persons to move away from their normal dwelling and want to enjoy these attributes somewhere else. All right. Now that we've made it to the end, let us look at some of these review questions. Number 1, differentiate between domestic tourism and international tourism. 4 marks. Number 2, identify 3 pull factors of Caribbean tourism. 3, list 3 classification of tourists. And 4, describe 2 pull factors that drive the demand of Caribbean tourism, right? So we're talking about as you can see with number 2 and number 4, they're very similar, but what is different is your behavioral verb, right? So whereas with number 2, you should identify, which will give you 1 mark each. For number 4, you have to describe. So for example, if you put climate as a pull factor, what is it about the climate that attracts person to that particular destination, right? So you have to write a little on it. You can't just list the pull factors, but you have to describe, all right? You've made it to the end of the session. Please remember to like, subscribe, and also share with persons who you know will find this information useful. Thank you for making it Fairs Tutorials.